Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm MrRedClaw. Welcome back to some more of tags. But before we get into it, I'd head down below, like and subscribe. This has helped a lot, and let's get right into it. Today we are watching Killian in real, playing in the one, the only. It's the Kranvagn, the tier 10 Swedish heavy tank. Probably one of the best tanks hauled down in the game. One of the best heavy auto loaders in the game probably as well. You know, you have the T57 heavy as well. That's kind of better at close range, but then, you know, they buffed this tank a couple years back to where it basically has the same amount of DPM as the T57 heavy, but this actually has way better turret armor, and you could say that the hull armor is also better. Now, as you might hear, well, you can't hear, we're playing with some electric tanks today once again. I'm not really sure, you know, another bug in the replay or something. Not really sure why it happens, but you know, it sometimes happens, and you know, I guess it's kind of funny and stuff like that. So Killian over here playing in the Kranvagn, already putting in a shell into the ELC Eva 90 across the field, and now into the Centurion 7-1. Now there's a Conqueror at the Kranvagn over there against him as well. What is he going to do? He knows that the Centurion is still going to be there, so he is keeping a close eye on him. Now, of course, the Kranvagn just absolutely brilliant, you know, turret armor. The hull is okay, it's not really the best, but it's still definitely not the worst. 2,983 damage per minute, which is absolutely amazing. You know, 440 damage. Used to be 400 with 4 in the magazine. They changed that to 440 with 3 in the magazine. I'm not really sure why they did that, but they did. 252mm of penetration. Now, I don't know, them changing it to like this DPM monster kind of like really kind of removes the T57 heavies kind of advantage, because this I'm pretty sure only has something like 20 or something more DPM. It might have one more in the magazine, but you know, you're doing 440 with one shell in the Kranvagn compared to 400. That is quite a big difference, especially over, you know, just losing that one shell. You basically have the same amount of kind of burst damage, you know, just slightly less than this by 80 is it, or something like that. So, you know, I kind of prefer the T57 heavy because that's the only tank I have. But I know the Kranvagn, it does look really, really fun as well, especially when you get into these hull down situations where you can just bounce everyone, and then if you do load those heat rams, you can basically go through anything. Now, Killian over here is already up to 3,000 damage in this game. Has blocked a couple shells from the Centurion, and his team are equal on kills. They are only down by 600 damage, so this is still all to play for. And you know, you really know you're having a good game where there's only 2 tanks down, and you're already down when you're already up to 3,500 damage. You know, that is something special. You know that you still have so many more tanks left to shoot and kill, and you're already sitting here on 1 kill and close to 4,000 damage. You know, these are the games where you know something special is happening and is going to happen, and I guess we are going to see what Killian can do, what he can still do in this game, as he's already done a lot. This would be a really, really good game if he was to finish it off here, but he still has 10 of the enemy tanks to kill with his team before they take this game out. Oh, of course they can cap, but I guess we're going to see what Killian and his teammates are going to do in this game, as the Kranvagn, the Conqueror even, wow, just getting all of the names mixed up. The Conqueror over there trying to push Killian whilst he was reloading, but this tank reloads quite quickly at, let's see, if I can even find it. It has a rate of fire of 6.78 and a reload time, there we go, of 21, just over 21 seconds for those 3 shells, doing 440 alpha damage. That is definitely not that long of a wait, and especially thinking of the T57 heavy, which has 1 extra shell. I'm pretty sure only 80 more damage per magazine, and that reloads in about 20, maybe 19 seconds, so not really that big of a difference between the two tanks. And seeing as this has so much more advantages than the T57 Heavy in terms of speed as well, this goes 60 forwards max compared to the 35 of the T57 Heavy. This basically having, as I said, similar DPMs, similar, penetration as well, I'm pretty sure. Maybe the T57 Heavy actually has a little bit more, but this just having the better speed so you can get it into positions to do the damage that you have to do in certain situations. And of course, having the 10, it's not 10, I'm pretty sure it's 12 degrees of gun depression. Yes, it is 12 compared to the 8, I'm pretty sure, on the T57 Heavy. That is a large difference. And of course, this tank just has much more armor, as I mentioned before, compared to the T57 Heavy, and it's not really even fair to compare the two tanks in terms of armor. I think, the T57 might be a little bit better at side scraper maybe than this tank, because of its kind of like boat like side armor, which is like, hull armor, kind of like the shape of a boat, which does help. But this, the turret armor, you just can't compare between these two tanks. The Kranvagn is just so much better, and I think in the current state of the two tanks and in the current state of the game, the Kranvagn is just so much better than the T57 Heavy. The T57 Heavy was really special. Even when this tank got released, it still had more DPM by a long shot, and now it's really equal, as I said, with the T57 Heavy basically having the same DPM as this. So it's not really that like, oh yeah, burst, heavy tank, because this can do it as well. And compared to the AMX 50B, that might be faster than both tanks. It does have less armor though, but it is just much more maneuverable, and you can kind of play it as a medium tank with just terrible camera rating. But there's pluses to each tank, and I think it used to be that the T57 Heavy used to have that big plus of having the most DPM, but now with the two tanks basically fighting for that DPM top spot, the Kranvagn does win out, even though it does have slightly less DPM, as Killian over there shuts down to TNH TVZ at 51, and then the object 279E, picking up 8 kills, up to 10,600 damage in this game. I haven't really been talking about this game too much, just about the difference between the tanks, but this has been an absolutely brilliant carry by Killian, and if it wasn't for him, they would have lost many minutes ago. But now there's an E3 left on 522 hit points, and Killian over here has a T55A left, which has somewhere just under 600 hit points. There we go, you can see him, 590 as that, I'm pretty sure. They just need to kill this E3, but of course, the E3, really good premium rounds, so Killian does need to watch out, and he doesn't even need to fire premium rounds at him. Of course, if he loads high explosive, then he's going to be able to take out Killian really easily. He puts in the first shot, bounces the last one, and puts in the third, killing the E3 and picking up an absolutely brilliant game in the Kranvagn over here. But let's look at the post-game stats, so let's see how well Killian did in this game. So no surprise, an ace tank, a Radley Walters, a high caliber, and a Top Gun to go along with that Radley Walters. 11,151 damage, 9 kills, and 1,655 base experience. So I think Killian must have put in a couple of blind shots there, I'm pretty sure, or maybe not. But an absolutely brilliant game, loads of base experience and all of that. However, not running a premium account, so loses nearly 50,000 credits. But for a game like this, I think Killian doesn't care at all. An absolutely brilliant game in the Kranvagn by Killian in real. But for now, that is going to be so. If you guys enjoyed, like, share, subscribe. See you guys next time. Bye bye.